All right, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome here to the NCAA Men's Basketball Championship West Regional here at Crypto.com Arena. We're going to get started here in just a minute. As a courtesy to your fellow media members and team participants, a reminder to please silence your cell phones. Also, for those of you in the room here, please raise your hand. We'll have gentlemen with mics come over, and please state your name and affiliation prior to asking the question. For those of us joining on Zoom, please make sure to use the raise hand function to ask questions, and we'll get to those after we get to questions here in the room. And one final reminder, recording press conferences on cell phones or cameras is prohibited. All right, we are joined here by North Carolina student athletes RJ Davis and Armando Baycott. We'll go ahead and open it up for questions. We'll start right there, row 4.
Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 in Birmingham. Alabama's known for their offense, but through the past and this season, they've struggled on defense. That changed in the round of 32. What did you guys see against Grand Canyon on tape?
I thought Alabama definitely did a good job just on their game plan of defending Grand Canyon's actions. I mean, obviously, the way Alabama can score the ball, I mean, for most of the part of the season, the defense doesn't even really matter in a sense because they are the number one offense in the team. I mean, in the country.
RJ?
I mean, I think they did a good job of kind of just playing their brand of basketball. I mean, they're known for transition threes, and they rely on threes and layups and dunks. So, but they did a good job of kind of just playing their defense, corralling the paint, being in the gaps, and kind of just turning the ball over. There's a lot of up and down, so that's what we're expecting for tomorrow's game.
Again, if you have a question, raise your hand. We'll go next here in the second row.
Adam Smith with Inside Carolina, guys. What's going on? Armando, I wanted to ask you about RJ and, like, his toughness. Do you feel like that's maybe an underrated part of his game for all the other things that he does? You know, some of the beatings that he takes and that he plays through?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just all year and all throughout his career, the way he's been able to go down the paint and finish at an elite level. I mean, he's probably the best finishing guard in the country, so that just speaks on his toughness right there. But also, too, what's been underrated this year, I think, about RJ is just his toughness defensively. All year, we've asked so much out of him offensively to score the ball, play make, do all these different things. But, I mean, defensively, I don't think he get enough credit for just how great he's been defensively, just on the ball, off the ball, and just taking on challenges, guarding the best players.
We'll go next to the second row over here.
Beth Harris, AP. Armando, the ACC got a lot of criticism this year about the quality of play, and yet there's 4 teams now at this stage of the tournament. Do you guys kind of take a bit of a chip on your shoulder at all that, you know, the league was talked about that way and yet has now produced this?
Definitely. I mean, you see it every year, I think, especially since, like, 2018, once, like, Kobe White, Zion, and all of them left. I feel like the respect for the ACC just in general kind of went down. But you look at every year in the tournament, we always got a couple of multiple teams later deep in these rounds. And I think it's a lot of stuff that goes into it. I think most ACC programs are playing a high-level conference, non-conference schedule too, so I think that really plays a factor. And I feel like another conferences might not be as strong, or they're kind of manipulating it in a way in some sense. And I mean, this year was definitely crazy because you look at how great NC State has been playing, how great Duke has been playing, but Clemson, too, has been great. But, I mean, you look at teams like Pitt, who's beaten 3 or 4 of those teams that I just named, and also, too, UVA, they obviously got out. But I think this year was a lot of ACC teams that were deserving that didn't get a chance to make it. And hopefully, I think everyone sees just after this year, like, how competitive ACC basketball is and how good the teams are.
We'll go next to the fourth row.
RJ, when you look at Alabama's team, you can't go far to find Mark Sears on the stat line. He's the highest scorer, going to be playing against you. What's that matchup you're looking forward to, and what do you see out of Mark Sears' game?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a really good matchup, both All-American guards, and I have a lot of respect for his game. Just the way he orchestrates the offense, he's able to get to his spots, does a good job of kind of just setting his man up, using ball screens, and he's the head of the snake. So I think it's going to be a good matchup from both sides, from my end and his end. And they put him a lot of good actions for him to be great and for him to find shots for himself, for his teammates. So I'm looking forward to it, and I think, it's going to be not just a matchup game, but a whole team environment game where it's not just me versus Mark Superiors, it's UNC versus Alabama.
All right, reminder to raise your hand if you have a question. We'll go next to the back.
With how big sports betting has become, how aware are you guys of that aspect to college basketball? Do you hear from fans? Are there interventions? How do you deal with that side of it that has grown so much?
It's terrible. Even at the last game, I guess I didn't get enough rebounds or something, so I thought I played pretty good last game, but I looked at my DMs and I got like over 100 messages from people telling me I sucked and stuff like that because I didn't get enough rebounds. So, I mean, I think it's definitely like a little out of hand, but at the same time too, like I get the point of it too. Like if you bet a lot of money on something and you're like one pick away and somebody messes up, I understand the part of like fans being mad, but it's annoying too at times.
For those on Zoom, a reminder to use the raise hand function if you want to ask a question. Any questions here in the room? All right, one final call for questions on Zoom. RJ, Armando, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
North Carolina head coach Hubert Davis will join us at 3:20. A reminder that Hammond Communications will post a recording of this press conference in the NCAA Digital Media Hub. That is at ncaa.veritone.com, and a transcript of this press conference will be provided by ASAP and will be posted shortly also in the NCAA Digital Media Hub. I just flew down this morning. Coach. I got it. All right, we are now joined by North Carolina head coach Hubert Davis. Before we begin, just a reminder to everybody that raise your hand before asking a question, and please state your name and affiliation. For those of you joining us on Zoom, please use the raise hand function, and we'll get to your questions once we finish questions here in the room. And a final reminder, recording the press conferences on cell phones and cameras are prohibited. All right, we'll jump right into questions for Coach Davis. Let's start in the back.
Coach Ryan Hennessy, NBC 13 in Birmingham. When you think of Alabama, a lot of people think of their football program, but basketball is really starting to roll since Nate Oates has been here. What is your take on it when you look from afar? And I know you played them in the past, and now they're at the Sweet 16 again.
Yeah, I mean, Coach Oates has done a terrific job at Alabama. He's a great coach, and his teams have been consistent every year. From a defensive standpoint, tremendous athleticism. They can get steals and deflections. Great rebounding team. They pressure you. They try to dictate and decide how you play on the offensive end. And then from an offensive standpoint, it's straightforward and clear. They're trying to get threes, layups and dunks, and free throws, and they've got the personnel to be able to do it. Great guard play, size at the 4 and the 5 positions that can shoot threes and can finish around the basket. So they propose a lot of problems and challenges for you, but we're really excited about the challenge of playing them tomorrow night.
Right there, second row.
Coach, what are the keys for your team to win tomorrow as you see it?
Well, I mean, all year we've identified what allows us to have success, whomever we play. We've got to get after it on the defensive end, and all year consistently we've been a really good defensive team. We've got to rebound the basketball. Prior to Michigan State in our last game, we had out-rebounded our opponent 25 straight games, and so we got to get back to that. We got to dominate the boards, and then taking care of the basketball on the offensive end, and really that's two parts. One, obviously limiting turnovers, but two, our shot selection has to be good. And I've always felt that your defense is really dictated by how you perform on the offensive end. And if you're making shots, taking good shots, getting to the free throw line, and taking care of the basketball, your opponent's always going up against your set defense, and that's good news for us and bad news for whomever we play.
We'll go next to Jordan over here.
Hi, Jordan Mendoza, USA Today Sports. You guys are one of 4 ACC teams to make the Sweet 16, and it felt like a lot of the conference got kind of like a little disrespected or not as much attention this season, but you've seen how much success the conference has had in the tournament. And so do you guys just feel like you guys are continuing to prove that it is one of the elite basketball conferences in the country?
Well, I don't think we're in a position where we have to prove anything. I've always felt like the ACC was arguably the best conference in college basketball. Reason why that I believe that is for most of my life I've been a part of this conference as a player, as an assistant coach for 9 years, and now 3 as a head coach. And just, the type of coaches and the programs and the consistency in the NCAA tournament from this conference is proof on the quality of teams and programs that we have in this conference.
We'll go next over here in the third row, at the end. Second row, sorry.
Coach, I'm glad you mentioned you as a player because that was kind of my question. I was hoping you could go back into the time machine to 1992 and tell me what you remember from playing Alabama in the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, it was in Cincinnati, Ohio, and Robert Horry and Latrell Sprewell, Hollywood Robinson, and just a really talented group, and played them in the Sweet 16, and we had to play extremely well to be able to advance to the Sweet 16, where we played Ohio State and unfortunately lost in that game. But much very the same than Alabama teams and the Alabama team that we're playing now. Just tremendous length, athleticism, talent, can score in a number of different directions, can get after you defensively. But I remember that game of playing them, and I remember the game before I wanted to play really well against Alabama because the game before I was 2 for 17 from the field, and we almost lost to Miami of Ohio.
Hubert, Rod Baxley, Fayetteville Observer. You always talk about guys taking advantage of opportunities, not knowing when those opportunities come, but being able to take advantage of them. What's it like for you to see guys like Jalen Withers and Seth Trimble take advantage of the opportunities, particularly like Michigan State, like they did against them?
I do. I love that, and it's great for them to have that experience or that testimony of when your number is called, being ready to play, and that's an important trait that you have to have. We talk about it a lot. There's very few things that you really do have control over. You have control over obviously how you respond and how you react, your words and your ways, your actions, your attitudes, how hard you prepare. And when that number is called, your job and responsibility is not only to be ready, but to be at the best of your ability. And what a great example of that has been Jay Witt this past weekend in Charlotte, and also all of them for the entire season, but specifically this past weekend. We're not here today without the play of Jay Witt and Seth and the impact plays that they have made on both ends of the floor. And that's one of the cool things about a team. It comes from different parts. Everybody can celebrate each other's success, and for us to be successful, everybody has to play their part, and Jay Witt and Seth are doing a terrific job at that.
We'll go next, second row.
Coach, Dennis Freeman, newsforusonline.com. Coach, how's it that you prepare or get your players ready for that moment, for a free throw at the last second or maybe the key jump shot? How do you coach and get your team ready for that moment?
Well, they're always ready for the moment. At Carolina, there's very few programs that are at our level, and the spotlight is bright playing at North Carolina. And so in those situations, this is something that's not new to them. They've lived it throughout this entire season. To play UConn in the Garden, to play in the ACC tournament final, to play Duke at Cameron, to playing here in the Sweet 16 against Alabama in the NCAA tournament. This is something that our guys not only are used to or accustomed to, but it's a position that they want to be in. They want to be in those late game situations where not only do they have to come up with a shot or a free throw, but a rebound, a stop, a loose ball. Those are things that our guys enjoy being in those moments, and they look forward to them.
Our next question in the back.
Yes, Brian Peterson with AZ Desert Swarm. I don't know how much you keep track of former players or anything like that, but are you surprised at all at how well Caleb Love has played with a new program in Arizona in the Pac-12?
I don't. My concern is the University of North Carolina, and so the only thing that I have on my mind is our players, our program, our university, and that's where my focus needs to be. That being said, I'm not surprised at all that Caleb won Pac-12 Player of the Year and he had a successful season, and I'm very, very happy for him.
We'll take our next question on Zoom. Steedham from the Associated Press. Can you hear us? There we go.
There we go. Yes, good afternoon, Coach. AP Stedham of AP and Kelly, as we see it, syndicated radio. Coach, what surprised you about your team this year on offense and defense?
I don't think anything has surprised me about this team at all. For us, offensively, we wanted to be better this year at, being more efficient on the offensive end. We wanted our pace to really dictate and be our identity on the offensive end. I feel like we have, in terms of the way that we transition from defense to offense and trying to be as fast as we can from free throw line to free throw line. really proud of the team and their full commitment to what has allowed these guys to be successful is defending, rebounding, and taking care of the basketball. And, it's just we clearly identified it at the beginning of the year, and for us to have success and we have a full commitment and buy-in by all 14 players in those areas in order to give us a chance to be really good.
Do we have any other questions in the room here? Go ahead, Rob.
Hey, Hubert. Rocco Miller, Bracketeer.org. Welcome to California.
Thank you.
Just wondering, I tried to look it up, didn't find the answer. So, when was the last time you're part of a game, either as a coach or player, in this state? And second question is there a mantra as you enter Los Angeles trying to get 2 wins out of here?
Yeah, the last time that we were here, I think it was 2015. We were playing in the Sweet 16 here against Wisconsin, and so that's the last time North Carolina was here. And Marcus Page was a junior, and now he's on staff here. What was the second part?
Is there a mantra, coming into California to get 2 wins? Rally cry?
No, not at all. I mean, once the bracket for the NCAA tournament came out, I did the same thing that Coach Smith did for us when I played at Carolina, and the same thing that Coach Williams did when he was head coach. We break apart the tournament in parts, and I said, as of right now, we've been invited to the Charlotte tournament, and if we're fortunate enough to win 2 games, they'll invite us to the Los Angeles tournament, and so that's what we're in now. Our focus is on Alabama and winning 2 games here in the Los Angeles Invitational, and if we play as well as we want to here, then we'll get invited to the Phoenix Invitational, and so that's the way that we've always approached it, and that's the way that we've done it this year.
Hi, Coach. Nikki Kay with Spectrum Networks. And speaking to your players, toughness, resilience was the words I kept hearing over and over again. Was there a moment this season that you knew this group had what it took to get to this point?
Yeah, not necessarily in terms of getting to this point, but I knew that we would be a good team from the first time that these guys stepped foot on campus and they were together as a group. I've said this a number of times. The first time that this group all together stepped foot on campus, they had a burning desire and a commitment to being a team, not just on the court, off the court. I've said a number of times that, if they're going out to dinner, the whole team goes out to dinner. In our hotel, we have a meeting room. The guys don't want round tables where there's 7 chairs at each table. They want one big table where everybody can sit together. They just enjoy being together. They enjoy practicing and preparing together, and it has translated out there on the floor. So in terms of being here and what our record was, that wasn't something that I anticipated, but I knew that we had a chance to be a really good team by their commitment to wanting to be a team the first time that they got together last summer.
Do we have any other questions here in the room?
You can ask my youngest son a question if you want to. He says he can handle the heat.
Do we have any questions on Zoom? Go ahead and use the raise hand function.
He said he was cold-blooded. That's what he said. I said, oh, okay. Okay, Micah.
We have a question on Zoom. Let me unmute you.
Yes, Coach. AP Stedham of AP and Kelly, as we see it, syndicated radio. Coach, what are the challenges guarding Mark Sears, and especially as a left-hander?
The challenges are he's one of the better players in the country. Very confident, gifted scorer, has the ability to score off the bounce, and when the ball's not in his hands in terms of coming off screens, can shoot threes. I know they don't shoot a lot of middies, but he's a 3-level scorer in terms of threes, pull-up jumpers, floaters, being able to get to the rim, get to the free throw line. And he also has a really good understanding of when to shoot and when to pass, and just being able to distribute to his teammates. And he's really competitive, and as I said before, a very confident player. And it will be a huge challenge for us to be able to defend him tomorrow night.
All right, thanks, Coach.
All right, thank you.
I heard you were gifted a special
Yes, ma'am.
So what was it, and what does it mean to you?
They gave me a soccer jersey. Who is it? The photographer for the national team? Yeah, so that meant a lot because, first of all, I didn't know they were going to be in Los Angeles, so that was a big surprise when you saw them in the hotel. But yeah, it meant a lot. It was cool. Vajibis, that's an everyday word. That's an everyday word in the household. I don't think I've heard him say anything else about vajibis. That's pretty much it.
Press conference is over.
we gotta get Micah a nameplate.
I know. Good job, Micah.
All right, thanks, Jeff.
Thank you.
Thank you.